peace. Phew. Why is it? Okay, let me turn it. There we go. Whoa. Man, I look amazing. I swear, after you get finished purging, crying, or something, you just look completely different. I ain't bullshit. I just literally got finished, like, purging, like type of cry. Other than that, yeah, emotionally, oh my gosh, it was some things coming up, and I was like, oh, I have to immediately talk about this right away because it was just wow. Let's give honor to the source of the Creator, the Most High, for even me coming into this, if you want to call it enlightenment or self-awareness around this. Two shadows and lessons with y'all. Now again, let's give an honor to the ancestors, known and unknown, for the highest good of all. I'm getting so much. I know I'm not the only one, but depending on where you are in your journey, I'm getting a heightened awareness, self-realization, aha moments, and so forth regarding this this new moon. Eclipse energy is so much that's happening astrologically, and however you want to state it. Now, what I have before you, if you're not familiar with, again, whatever resonate, move around. You may have to go through some type of a spiritual journey or grand awakening or whatever it is on your own term, and then come around to this. I still have a way of being naturally gifted with words, or just a way of sharing things to make this relatable and a bridge for people who aren't aware of said ancient teachings, or even things that are beyond or come way before religion and so forth. Again, I'm going on from my experience, and also again bringing you into a world of the deep awareness around what I was getting. It seems like it happens immediately after I purge or cry or something. I get immediately clarity of something to share or to even introduce to the collective and so forth. So starting here, I just want to give major gratitude, because I want y'all to realize the importance of what the order of new things that we're moving into, and how it's based and centered around. When I say based, centered around this right here. I feel like right now this is the targeted area. So right now, for those that you with awareness around what this is or isn't, I said before, I like to bridge people to where it's some people are going to look at this and won't be able to have the insight, enlightenment, or even awareness around what this is. They'll demonize it, they'll say whatever it is, to each their own, whatever. But now that we're shifting, a perspective has changed to where I was getting clarity of who represented what nationality, even the shade of people, what energy, and so forth. I'm talking about, I'm finna get real deep into the fact of I immediately was okay, I have to put this, transmute this, and so forth. Even when you look at the fact of how things are right now demographically, as I said before, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. This has a lot to do right now. If you never heard of what the root chakra or chakra, or whatever you want to say it, and those who are familiar with it, this is going to be very enlightening, or bring very much awareness to yourself, even in your experience. I'm a firm believer, or even just know that, for me, I feel what I'm supposed to also share is the fact of how even people in our connections, who we meet, are on our journey, specifically mirroring back these blocked chakras, or chakras that are probably needing more attunement, or probably needing even more, if you're looking at the root chakra, grounding, trust, certain things that are, again, begin with us. So when you see this has a lot to do with the fact of, again, those who study religion, they know too about a lot of these things. I even feel like a lot of people are just told not to even bring people into this. But again, the body is so vital. I'm going to even scroll down more when they get into the root chakra. But what I'm going to go into first when I be talking about the root cause of something, for one, when you look at the first three chakras, and they're said to believe, the great teacher Bobby Hemmett was saying that there are more chakras. You know what? Hey, but this root chakra is so important. I want you to see this as a tree. I want you to see from these very first three places the importance of how you are stable. Grounding is stable. So when you look at this, I want you to recognize, like it says, the base of your spine. The reason why this is so important for me is that I tell y'all about the fact of me being hit by a car very young, and that creating some type of instability or ungroundedness or unstableness within me, in my energy field, in my spine, and so forth, right? So that being that it happened with my mother also represents the fact of the emotional body, the part of me that were created from her, DNA, the structure, and so forth, and how I took those very things from a mother wound, and now realizing how, what are we, not even, if you haven't heard it first, what are we supposed to take, these, what we see as mother wounds, father wounds, and that are reflected back in how we operate our solar plexus, heart chakra, root chakra, sacral, and so forth, and use these very things like the third eye and throat and the crown. And again, the reason I say this is that this is a spiritual aspect of, again, what a lot of people don't even know internally, outside of what they've been programmed to believe, or outside of what has been so embedded into people who don't realize that they're spirit first, or realize that everything that happens physically first happens spiritually. So then when we dig a little deeper, a lot of this, when you look at the root chakra aspect, I was like in the bathroom, I'm like, hold on. When I look at the origins of, let's say, this realm, when I look at the origins of, when you're talking about just dark and shaded people, dark and shaded women, and so forth, when I look at the belief systems on who has been targeted the most when it comes to religious structure, or keeping their energy more stagnant, scattered, confused, when you look at a lot of these chakras, you can pause it and see how important it is certain of these energies feel are targeted purposely or are preyed upon when it comes even to the inner child aspect of, again, the root chakra, the groundedness of where their foundation began, how that affects them in the long haul, how they operate through these very chakra systems as they grow up. Even with that, you're talking about the relationships. If you didn't have a grounded or trusted relationship, and then the survival aspect is how you live, how, these things that, how you operate in life. When you talk about even how sex is viewed through the sacral chakra, the creativity, the abundance, some people don't even realize people are very creative and innovative through their sexual behaviors, but it's the manipulation through it to obtain said abundance, as you see. Now, even as much as they want to manipulate it or so forth, that energy still, as you put it out, the seeds that you sow, you will also reap that very same energy. So now the divine was like, okay, elaborate more and go deeper. Now, when I see this on an energetic level, as far as like darker women, I see that their root chakra has been ungrounded in the last how many years or eons. And when I look at the origins of everything, when you don't have women grounded and have trusting, that have been in survival and not risen out of that lower state, because look at where the root chakra is. When you're having women who are having multiple fathers, yeah, you're fine. Appreciate it. And when you're having women that are having children multiple people, I'm not discouraging people that trying to attempt to find love, or unrealistically through their blockage in their sacral or root, trying to find a sense of stability or trust or groundedness or stableness. So how I'm connecting all of this, is showing their reflection energetically, not individually, but collectively. When you look at the collective image of a darker woman, I immediately can go to the root chakra and can immediately highlight why that woman isn't grounded and who she is. It simply said, it's when you hear a woman describe herself as a B word or bad or anything of a certain energy, listen, they can argue me up and down. I'm telling you something to where as you speak this about yourself, you're speaking from the root, the base of yourself, and then you actually putting that out to the universe. And then not only that, you seeing from the woundedness from not having something stable, how they operate through sex, which is the sacral chakra, through their creativity, because you create life through sex. And then whether you're seeing abundance in a more healthy way, or you thinking that your idea of abundance comes through is disguised in a way of having more, let's say, governmental assistance or other things. Again, Bobby Hemmett referenced this like years ago. He said, a lot of us have to realize that those that are guiding lights for specific people in certain demographics, especially darker people, who have not risen out of their fucking root chakra. When I look at the world, I cannot say that there are mostly women that are heart chakras are open. When it comes to love, healing, and acceptance, they don't even accept themselves. This is not an attack. This is called fucking accountability. And this is why there is almost an opposition or an attack on men. Because deep inside a lot of women and men, when you look at the matriarchal, I look at the matriarchal in this collective, and I realize from the root, that's why you always hear me talk about going to the root cause of things. What is survival to a woman that is darker in certain demographics? What does that look like and feel like? What is trust to her? If there's any, what is her grounded approach to life? And let me elaborate on this. I want y'all to pay attention and look at what this is saying right here. I'm not asking y'all to go out there and get no damn stones. I'm not asking you. I'm talking on a more metaphorical level, on a spiritual level, on something where I can get y'all to realize, like, there's a reason why certain restaurants are red. There's a reason why certain things subconsciously trigger you. There's a reason why certain things you don't even know plays on your psyche. So I don't want to read all the things about the root chakra, but listen, the main thing it says, the root chakra resonate with groundedness, stability, and security. This is a chakra to focus on in meditation if you are feeling afraid or unsafe. Now, when I talk about PTSD, when I talk about trauma, traumatic experience, when I'm talking about intergenerational things where our mothers, grandmothers, and so forth have not had a stable fucking root chakra for years, for generations. Energetically speaking, when I'm talking about intergenerational, I'm talking about spiritual. We're talking about the fact of how you're carrying instability into generations, and that simply is highlighting the stability, instability, the insecurity, because security is no different than being secure is no different than insecurities. And that has a lot to do with even self-acceptance, self-assurance, or even just, deeper into, being secure within yourself, rooted in self, rooted in truth. So this chakra is focused, okay, no. Oh yeah, if you are feeling afraid or unsafe, come on, bro. This is what the fuck I do. Come on. You tell me in America or anywhere else, even when you're talking about religious figures, where it prioritizes the safety of women and children, especially, let me highlight the fact of the Divine Mother's rising, and how is she going to rise? She has a rise from the base. She has a rise from the foundation. And how do you do that? You uncover, you unveil what has not kept her safe and what has kept her in a fearful mindset. And when you look at these fucking foundations of the world that has been run by a distorted matriarchal and a patriarchal who has enabled the fear, who will also be held in judgment, divine judgment, So what I'm here to do, I'm just a messenger. So again, you cannot say there's nobody. I don't give a fuck what type of status you're in and so forth. You name me. You go to any demographic without blaming the woman, without pointing the finger, and you represent you call yourself a governmental official. You call yourself, I don't care, CIA, FBI. I don't care who you are. When's the last time you know of in a certain demographic that you have made darker women, especially in this country or any other country, feel fucking safe and not to be afraid of being who they are? Not only that, men, their kids, their children, from a darker perspective on all levels. You of any nationality or demographic, especially those of you a lot of shade who are passive aggressive against these very things. How have you made that, not even make, but how have you held space for that person to feel safe? When's the last time? This is why I keep telling y'all about the fact of when you overlook the fact of the importance of what the darker woman and women of darker shade actually mean in the creation of all things. It's not about a superior complex. It's about the origins of everything beginning darker. Outside of the vessel, it's the fact of the origins of everything that we easily skip by. This is not making any other woman feel like, my intentions are not to make any other woman feel like she's not valuable. No, it's the ones who know that you have grandmothers and great grandmothers and so forth, or you dealt with women or come in encounter with women, that you had an opportunity to make that woman or hold space for her to feel safe and you didn't. Fuck out of here. Let's be honest. If you are too stuck in your ways, unwilling to accept change or transition, your root chakra may be overactive. Now guess what? I can honestly say in certain demographics, when I'm dealing with people that are darker shade, when people try to yell, why can't we unite? Well, listen. Our mothers, we're forgetting that a lot of them were manipulated. They were stripped of everything. Not just human rights, they were stripped of everything. Their anatomy, their autonomy, their everything. They were preyed upon. They've been everything not to feel fucking safe. And then you tell me, I'm sitting here reading like, if you are stuck in your ways, I look at a lot of these elders. I ain't even mad. They had to be stuck in their ways. And it's the mental illness and the disorder around it. I'm not even mad at them. That was their survival. So when I look at it on an energetic level, on a spiritual level, yes, we're coming from women who have been stuck in their ways because they had to be, to protect themselves, to protect their sons, to protect a nation, to enable a nation who has preyed upon them. Fuck out of here, man. Now one of you fools that's so high and mighty in your position and power and so forth, come tell me differently. Oh, I get it. Y'all don't talk about this shit because you ain't even ready. You ain't want these very women to rise into their power. But let me let you know, the powers that ain't, it's a wrap. They already know. Look, the script, it's already what? It's already written in the stars. The chakra influenced the male reproductive system. Did you hear that? This chakra influenced the male reproductive system. Rectum, elimination, kidneys. What is that? Is that adrenals and lower spine? This is wild as fuck. Some of this stuff I be called to look at it. I be saying like, bro, my lower spine. When I'm sitting here and realize like I cry, and I was crying like, yo, and some say look up the chakra system. When I look at the fact of how important this is, when I'm talking about stature, when I'm talking about confidence, when I'm talking about a tree, your stature, the power, and who you are, how that's been attacked. When it's saying that chakra influences the male reproductive system, And this is why a lot of young men who have mother wounds, who overcompensate or who overspill their semen, that's your reproductive system, bruh. I learned this a lot by going through celibacy. This is why I'm telling you why this root chakra shit is so important, because I was saying, like, I think I said this in another video. I was like, I want the symbolic aspect of the origins of things. When I look at the chakra aspect, right, I can say that there are people, when I look at all of this in its totality, who basically what you have it collectively, when you say the grand awakening, or I say the grand enlightenment or awareness, however you want to say it, these very things that you hear people talk about, I don't call it the third eye, I call it the first eye, or you can call it the third eye, you can call it all three, I don't care. When you look at this from a perspective that if everyone I know holds these energies, right, man, come on, bro. When you look at the root, now let's say every child is born with love, right, from source, a source love, correct? Already born with the acceptance of self, but due to the fact that we're here to remember, recall, or even, from the repressed and suppressed states intergenerationally, breaking generational chains and so forth, right? This is what I keep telling y'all, you're recovering. You're recovering from sexual abuse, right? So you're recovering and rebuilding a root chakra. You're recovering trust within yourself to trust men, to trust women. This is what I realized I was stabilizing again. This is what the fuck that is being restored in humanity and within ourselves. This is what the Aquarian age, the age of information, the veil is being lifted. This is what this is about. When you speak your truth, you open your chakra, your throat chakra. Your awareness, your intuition, your thought, your first eye, your visions and dreams, your awareness, your discernment, your I see, your spirituality, your enlightenment, your crown. You think that what do you call that shit? Hairstylist. If you think, bro, I have to talk, this is who I am. If you think that there hasn't been an attack on people, on their crown, when it comes to the fact of chemicals, when it comes to the fact of especially that, boy, I'm shattering every fucking illusion because the veil is thin. When it comes to the greed and gluttony, when it comes to the fact of who has attacked the darker women's and other women's crown chakra to keep them blocked from enlightenment, when you're talking about perms, when you're talking about hair products, when you're talking about other hairs from other countries who cut their hair off to let go of outdated energy, and then you put your DNA, someone else's DNA inside of your head, the spirit, how can you not see the energy, whether it's human hair or not? Why would you want someone else's hair in yours? And then guess what? This highlights the fact of your heart chakra. The love you don't have for yourself to even grow your natural hair. The healing, the acceptance that you've ignored over time. Your discernment, knowing that why you having more headaches. All the chemicals in those products. Why you think they made $1 billion off of the fact, $1 billion corporations, whether it's medical, whether it's hair products and all that shit. All of that shit has always been on an attack on the originals. The original spiritual, organic people through generations and so forth. And being that now so many people have so much melanin in them, you too, whatever vessel you in, it's been the same thing. How dare you speak about what goes on in your lineage? But why wouldn't you, to unblock what your mother and grandmother couldn't at a point in time, and your ass sit back and don't say nothing? This is what evolution is about. This is the collective aspect of evolving collectively You'll hear people reference the Christ consciousness. You'll hear people reference consciousness or whatever. Again, when you're talking about chakra aspects, when you're talking about you're wondering why shit is being dismantled in the foundation, let's go back to foundation. Let's go back without foundations. Mantra. This mantra, hold on. Let's go about. It's a color, red and brown. I just wonder. I could be reaching, but I'm gonna reach I wonder what's the fucking coincidence of it being red and brown. Anywho, I don't know. Earth. Okay. Now, the element of the root chakra is earth, right? When you look at the origins of earth and the inhabitants of it and the indigenous aspect of that, how do y'all believe anybody out here when it says, the mantra says, I can't grow from an unsteady foundation? How the fuck do y'all think in this world, in this climate, in this atmosphere, that anything is going to be stable? If the root aspect of that, from the very people, whether men or women, that are not even in that stableness of that energy, for them not to act out from that unstableness. Y'all don't realize how much y'all been under a spell and bamboozled to believe that you were supposed to actually believe that everything was fucking stable. Let's go on and continue. Let's talk about physical body, blood, immune system, bone marrow, the base of the spine, legs, and feet. Now this coming up because I gotta talk about it. The mitochondrial gene, and also I forgot with that system. There's actually a research you can do on this where when you're talking about the blood, right? The blood that's in this land, the blood of the women and children that were innocently slaughtered, or no, the innocence of them being slaughtered. Let me correct that. That's what I was saying. The mothers and children that were innocent, and the slaughtering of that. And also, when you're talking about that being the base, the foundation of this nation, when you're talking about reflecting the immune system, the bone marrow, the base of the spine, legs, and feet, right? It's like, I want y'all to see that the mother in itself, the darker mother, the origins of this world, the origins of the foundations of everything. When you look at the state of her well-being, I can honestly say, from being so much out of her natural element, or even being stable within herself, most likely her root chakra. I know so many women right now, when I look at their feet, they have gout, or they dealing with so much pain because this is generations before. They walk so much, they've overworked, they've overgave, they overcompensated, right? This has affected their feet, their legs. This has affected their spine. This also reflects the medical system that actually, when you look at the studies of how it intentionally attacks the fact of how women are, how they are purposely, intentionally taught to have children on their backs, which go against the natural flow of the child coming down the canal. When years ago before, this is why you're going to see so much heightened aspect of transmuting babies now, transmuting that pain into gain, where you will see a highlighting in natural births, because this is that shift. And the beauty of that is allowing our mothers to now birth painlessly, birth with more joy and more bliss, because we want to ignore the fucking fact that the medical system in itself has attacked. And I know not purposely, but women from experience who have went through traumatic experiences when it comes to the medical system. There are so many women that have been silenced. Their throat chakras, let's talk about it. There's so many women with traumatic experiences of all shades, but I'm talking about indigenous women and of women of nationalities that are darker, different shades as well, that have went through that, especially in the United States. And it's so important that I reference that the root chakra is so happen to be the earth chakra, or the element earth, right? Because guess who's being restored? Daughter earth. Some may say it mother earth, But shout out to Sister Mara who references the fact of how it's daughter earth, because the importance of how energy unfolds. Mother, son, father, daughter. And a lot of this, energetically, spiritually speaking, has a lot to do with the fact of how when you remove certain elements, such as a father, things that represent not just a physical part, but the spiritual part. So now I just read that this chakra influences the male reproductive systems and so forth, right? That naturally tells you right there. Once you remove something that stabilizes the family, that protects and stabilizes it, and so forth, then you're removing the stability. I'm not saying man just represents stability. The balance in man representing stability. And so with that balance between stability. So with that, when you're talking about the lower spine, when you're looking at the fact of how again, there's already a natural attack on how a lot of our mothers have birthed our children through trauma, from trauma. More trauma and pain, and through laying on their backs, and the media or even the perception of just seeing women good for that, and so forth. So when I'm referencing like the energy of daughter earth being crowned, it has a lot to do with not only our mothers being restored, but their inner child is being restored. Their balance is being restored. How do you regain balance? If I just said the energy breaks down from mother, son, father, daughter, then the beauty of that is that our daughters, the daughters that they once were before, their inner child is being restored with that of emotional security. As it states here, the emotional body connects with our survival instincts and primal needs: food, shelter, and fucking safety. Let's go into deep on what is primal needs, or actually the etymology of mortal? Is it primordial or what am I looking up? So notice, like when you see this word prime, beginning, existing at or from the beginning, right? There's a Latin aspect of this too. Beginning or origins, right? I can't make this shit up. So let's go back here. When we're going to the root cause of the fact of, this is not blaming anyone. This is the accountability on all levels of seeing why people display what they display and why they work hard for stability. It being more focused on the external rather than the internal. This is why I'm speaking about the root chakra. Because again, once certain things are removed, you don't have balance in a world, you don't have balance in your nation, you don't have balance no fucking where. So again, the emotional body is connected with our survival instincts: food, shelter, and safety. Now, when I look, the first thing, I can just hear people chatter right now. Well, we can't look at them, look at the way they act. Well, motherfucker, where's the fucking accountability? Where's the fucking accountability on how certain people or certain nations, or how some people have enabled, supported through greed, through gluttony, through self-righteous reasons to purposely create their legacies, their so-called false empowerment in corporations from what? Removing the primal needs of these very people, and then to tell them to go fucking elsewhere, and then to come in after they allowed, which was divinely orchestrated, from people to support each other. You deprive them of food, shelter, and safety, and y'all keep thinking that there's no consequences to this, bro. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't care what color you are. I don't care what status. I keep telling y'all, divine justice and judgment is here. Balance will be restored whether you like it or not. It's going to be made very clear who you are. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care where you hiding at, underground, anywhere. Listen, you have also, whether you know it consciously or not, played a role in the safety aspect. You asked me this: why shouldn't our children feel safe where we are? The most unprotected, well, who quoted it? The most unprotected, and also, which is related to safety, the most unprotected woman in this world is a darker woman. And I'm telling you from experience of having a child by a woman of a lighter shade. I see the shit. Why would I ignore it? I'd be a fool not to. I'd be a fool. It's funny how a lot of these dudes sit up here. Y'all don't create cultures around dehumanizing, devaluing women, and even the fact of their safety. Niggas rap about talking about literally putting motherfuckers in in harmful ways. I'm grateful enough to realize through the fact of my mother wounds how I can say I wasn't intentionally hurting people, but due to the fact that I was hurting and due to the fact that I didn't feel safe, due to the fact of certain things that I dealt with personally with women where I had trust issues and so forth, that I didn't want to be that way. I took accountability. I took life by the fucking horns and been like, yo, what the fuck? Yo, get yourself together. Now, guess what? You have the opportunity to speak about it. These motherfuckers are cowards. I don't care. I'll look at anybody's face and tell you cowards for not even the fact of, some of y'all speak about it, but y'all manipulate it. Y'all try to make money off the fact of preying on our mothers and our grandmothers. That shit is done with. That shit is done with. A lot of these people sit back, they'll make these groups, they'll do all these things, but deep down they're genuine. You ain't no prophet. You care more about the profit or profiting from it. That's women and men. That's people who make these campaigns and all this other stuff and all this shit. Man, please. Some of these news that make groups and shit, you still carry womanizing tendencies. You still coming from a survival instinct of a wounded place, seeing women through a wounded lens, and you can't mask it no more. So again, how the fuck is it that you can have billionaires and all these people in the world and then not even care about the women? In these present day women, in their bloodlines, in their ancestry, are the very women that came before all of you folks. That came before all of you. And some of y'all wouldn't even have what you have if some of their grandmothers and mothers did not sacrifice or do certain things, and y'all dare not acknowledge it and give them the credit. Man, divine judgment finna rain on y'all. Rain don't miss nobody home. It's raining right now. Rain don't miss nobody home. That's just like judgment. Kind of world will want to see mothers and children out here. Y'all sit here talking about why they act the way they are. Well, shit, have they felt safe? Me as a darker man, the confidence I have to learn how to feel safe within myself and safe amongst other people who the ones that don't look like me or not, who are just as passive. So guess what? They're just as dangerous as the one who do look like me, who I normally know who don't feel safe. So sometimes, guess what? I still gotta hold my fucking head up high. I still go in them trenches. I still go in them places. Play basketball with those very kids who going through vices. I still say what's up to those very kids. Nah, some of y'all hide away in your Hollywood heels that's crumbling right before you. You hide away in your mansions. You hide behind your money and shit, and won't ever step foot in front of those very people. You know those kids feel unsafe. And I'll remind those kids, be very discerning of those very people that try to come in and want to prey on you because you're the next athlete, but you don't care about their well-being. So yeah, you'll give them money, but knowing that their root chakra isn't stable. That's why a lot of these men, they fuck for fun, spill their semen. Yeah, we reversing the curse. That's how deep this goes. Because everybody don't want to hold nobody accountable. Nah, that's how deep this goes. I encourage my women to heal. Close your legs. Close your legs. Love yourself. That shit is intergenerational. You probably don't even know you dealing with sexual traumas. You don't even know why you have a deep desire to go out here to create something differently for your tribe, differently for your lineage. When the last time you felt safe to do that without someone trying to attack it? Like I said, the world has portrayed a certain image of just keeping a certain woman safe. And guess what? I'm saying it right here, right now, because guess what? I can honestly see that with my partner. Because I was supposed to connect with her. To realize, like, yo, I told her, when you look at it, you're basically saying, because of how consumed people belief system is about everything, you're basically saying, whether religiously, when you look at a character, that is the root of this nation. A person that don't even look like people who originated here, who are indigenous to this land. Man, what kind of mental bullshit is that? How about you just believing your shit without projecting it onto other people? Think about people who are never told about certain religious figures. Why do you think a lot of us fight so much to honor those who came before us, who uphold the spirituality, those who come along and understand and overstand what it is we're here doing, knowing that we will be never, probably ever, well, some don't even be accepted, or the ones before us were never accepted, because guess what? They were just portals and gateways. You got mothers that didn't even have, some of them, when you talk about being raped or being, stuff like that have happened to women, how the fuck is they bringing children in through safety? Then not only that, Planned Parenthood, all these other stuff, all this stuff y'all don't realize was purposely there only to bring about this grand scheme of healing, y'all. Healing and acceptance. It starts with accountability. Accountability is the acceptance. A lot of our hearts are blocked, bro, because of grief. We've been laying with the enemy. We've been making friends with people that are enemy of themselves. That's what makes them enemy of you. And we say we love it. And you grow to love the very things you hate. And now that you come to this self-realization, like, fuck, so many people hate themselves. You're going to see here very soon on so many levels how many people. I'll be sitting back like, oh my gosh, you have to hate yourself to hide from you so much that you have built this facade, this mask so much. Y'all don't realize y'all praise the mask so much that all these things you see right here, that when it comes to creativity, even how you view sex, you don't even see it sacred. You don't even see how we praise the mask of women being whores. People don't even realize how we've enabled women to continue the dysfunction, and y'all praise artists and other people as if that should be normal. As if this ain't familiar to a lot of us. Some of these artists, that shit's familiar. Oh wow, she went out here and had a bit. So I know somebody with 12 kids. I mean people with 18 kids. I know somebody told me they daddy had 24, 25 kids, bro. Do you know what I realize that is? That comes from a place of not really knowing who they are. That's why you see a cycle of, again, if it says the chakra influences the male reproductive system, you're talking about bringing more and more kids in here that are not going to be mentally or emotionally stable. That shit hit me because I was sitting there crying like, bro, I see exactly why I was coming to this awareness, because if I didn't come from a steady or healthy foundation, I don't feel shame and guilt around that I had to reenact things in a similar way to come to this awareness. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to realize. It's okay to come to this acceptance. That's the faith, that emotion and that pain behind it, or whatever it is that you need to feel, that energy. That's your first gateway and rite of passage to healing, to acceptance. Is to realize, yeah, you may have reenacted. Well, so did your mom and them reenact things. Their decisions are not better just because. I mean, they're not better than you or more valuable just because of that. Don't get it misconstrued. Oh shit. Don't get it, like I be telling people, don't get it fucked up just because you may think that I'm supposed to have this and have this right now in my life. No, I was supposed to come into this awareness and do it this way. That's where the courage comes in. That's what I realized when I'm looking at all these certain chakra systems and so forth. Oh, I was supposed to open my throat chakra at that time in my life when they want to silence me as a child. No, fuck you. I'm moving forward, and guess what? I'm gonna speak my truth. Oh, I was supposed to get this enlightenment around the whole situation, my lineage and so forth. Therefore, I can know how to move forward with it. That's how I came into my spiritual practices, because I guess what? It was in my lineage before. Religion and all that stuff was not just all, no, there's stuff that outdates that. Oh, first eye chakra or third eye, whatever you want, awareness, intuition. If I didn't come from nothing stable or women who lean towards their intuition or men, guess what? What are my thoughts about myself? How do I see myself? My intuition and so forth. Heart chakra, love, healing, and acceptance. How many of us can say we came from homes, environments, society norms? This is not the societal norm. To love, to heal, to accept. And how that looks is, again, through sometimes solitude, moving away, stepping into our power, solar plexus, the power, the vitality, the manifesting, because that comes with, that word is so oversaturated, manifest, but that comes with the fact that, all these things are alignment. I even had to learn through the root chakra, trusting myself again, trusting my path, grounding myself again, pouring into myself again. I was like, oh, this is what I'm transmuting from the feminine aspect, or from seeing the wounded aspect from the feminine, the shadows of myself, to bring forward in the physical plane of a more healthier approach that is unfamiliar to my lineage, because when I look at them, most of them ain't doing none of this fucking work. Most of them don't even know what this is. So why would I even care for their acceptance? They don't even know what it is to be creative. They're still operating, I keep telling y'all, they're still operating out of the lower chakra. They can have money, they can be well off, that's fine and dandy. But a lot of them are not, this is why the divine was making clear to me too. People can still have these energetic fields open, but that doesn't mean that they're aligned. What I realized I was restoring, and what I see most of humanity, especially in certain demographics, they are they're in their their lower nature, the survival, or just the root chakra. Trust who? Grounded in what? Their mindset around that? Grounded in what? They're grounded in dysfunction. Do you hear what I say? They're grounded in dysfunction, disorder, chaos. That's their groundedness. So if you wonder why certain kids are acting the way it is, this is what they're given. This is what's passed on. So they, of course, they're not gonna. And then you got the next chakra up, sex. So again, notice how it starts from the root. You see this as a tree. It starts from the root, and then it comes up. That's why when you enlighten, you get a download, and then you upload it. So think about what has been passed through the wombs of our mothers, and all of a sudden, here people uploading it in life. What they see, what they receive, all of that. So, when it says, the root chakra says, I am, what do I say I am? Am I beautiful? Am I abundant? Am I prosperous? Am I loved? Am I lovable? Man, you look at some of these kids and so forth, it's like, whoa. You go up to them and say, I love you, I appreciate you, you're valuable. Man, it's supposed to be triggering, because y'all don't realize a lot of this shit, when we say it vibrationally, or a lot of these things what we do through our actions, it's actually supposed to have an effect on them. It actually supposed to initiate them. It actually supposed to make them angry. Y'all don't realize, like, all this shit we've been talking about behind rage and anger, how I see a lot of young men, they'll display on the outside. They'll display on the outside their current state of being so tough, and in reality it's like an unwatered tree. On the outside they're trying to portray this fruit of giving off like everything's all right, but deep down you're talking about generations of our root chakra's never been water. I'm using root chakra as our roots. You're talking about when you look at a family tree, you look at all these generations of kids out here, right? When you look at every family, you can see who's been watered. But don't get it twisted to where even on the physical it may seem as such, but spiritually, I still look at people. There still have people in their life that don't have confidence through expressing and communicating, or or they have degrees, they have college, but they don't have a sense of understanding themselves or enlightenment, or have a spiritual connection. They don't have a deep awareness or listen to their intuition. And this can be represented in so many other people in life. When you look at the heart chakra aspect, these are not generations that are coming from healing and acceptance and love of self, love of others. This is not generations that know the importance of what sex actually is and the regeneration of life, the cycles of life, creativity, how to express it, the abundance of life that they come from. They already inherit these very things. But this is why you see through music, through a lot of stuff, why I was like, from my perspective, when I do look at, let's say, the darker shaded community in the aspect of how it's been portrayed or how it's been attacked, I said, I feel like they represent energetically for any of this to shift and transpire. Their root chakras are and have been attacked. And with that, when they don't have any grounded approach in the acceptance of who they are, in the emotional intelligence and so forth, then guess what that affects? How they feel about themselves affects everything around them. So I can see why the powers that ain't no used to be would not give certain resources or certain things on a more external level. But the beauty of all of this is now, moving on, it says a spiritual body. This is the center of which we ground ourselves and connect to Mother Earth, or I like to say Daughter Earth. So again, when you look at how even people are treating the Earth, so forth, and caring about those very simple things, when we don't have a connection to the very things that are a part of our even balancing ourselves, stabilizing ourselves, things so simple as shit as the trees and the rivers and waters. When we don't have a connection and balance with that, it's going to reflect. And we don't realize, like, energetically, what we're receiving back individually and collectively is that which we've been planting seeds for. So that's why I keep telling y'all how that comes, you being your black sheeps and whatever, you could be restoring one of these important the highlight around certain chakras. Some of you could have come into your enlightenment, but then your focus could have been more, stabilizing your root chakra. So when you say, let's say, when people come into their enlightenment and people be like, oh, this mother crazy in the family, no, it was just that divine timing where you were supposed to come into that and be seen as this and that. But now realize you understand and overstand the depths of the fact that how you supposed to evolve the thinking, the mindset, all those things around evolving your lineage, whether a man or woman or whomever. Opening your awareness to the third eye. Again, there's been so much fucking manipulation even in the spiritual community around these very things, how people just want to make money off of certain things. And I remember at a time where you couldn't even know nothing about the chakra system, because it was like just how it was watered down and used to just like focus more on the positive. But my ass, who I'm supposed to be, is to remind you of all of these very things have negative and positive things, which represents the feminine and masculine attributes, which also represents learned behavior and behavior that's in unlearned and learned behavior. So what you're seeing play out is a representation of, okay, be discerning. That's why a lot of people are going to fade, because these, not just those prophets, it's false teachers who have come along and breathe and let me tell you something. I ain't finna come to y'all with that shit, because my demographics, I'm gonna speak to the very people how I'm supposed to be in a more in a more way where you gonna feel me. You know, some of y'all may listen. I love you. I appreciate you. You know, man, come on, man, get yourself together. Then there's some people that like, come on, bro, on the real. Come on, sis. Like, come on now. You really not trying to love yourself. You blaming everybody else, but don't want to take no accountability. Sis, you in that relationship, a whole lot don't even realize, like, shawty. That man came to really reflect, mirror back to you something about your solar plexus. But here it is, some of y'all don't even realize some of these relationships literally come back to mirror certain shit. I can honestly say, if there's anything certain about certain relationships, I was realizing like certain relationships talking about loving myself. So that would be, you know, everybody like to say, oh, I gotta love myself, this is a season. Okay, because that relationship was highlighting your heart chakra, sis. Bruh. Oh, you want to listen to your intuition? Look at here. Oh, even myself, when I was hit young, when I was hit by a car, not only did that affect my root chakra, guess what? My crown. I got hit young right here where I got hit in the head, and there's still an indenture from like when I got hit. Some of those things could have altered your perspective on life. Some of those things were an attack from the spiritual to the physical aspect of spiritual warfare because of the power a lot of you were coming into to shift this shit to for the phoenix to fucking rise. You the phoenix of your family. Everything that was supposed to come and destroy all of this, you the motherfucking phoenix, my boy. Again, sacral aspect. Some people come in your life and let me give a great example. Some people come in your life to spark your creativity. You know, which is connected to your, again, the importance of why these are positioned right there is look at where they position. Especially a lot of women, man, your creativity, and even when you look at sex, it says I feel. How many of y'all in y'all room in a while have like the feeling of safety, creativity, connecting to the abundance, and even see sex in a healthy way? Even see sex in a more creative space. Even like the fact of how a lot of your creative energy come from that. Or just the fact of how, when's the last time you actually use your imagination or created something? And this is why so much like the root chakra and the sacral are so vital for me, is because those who have dealt with sexual trauma, and even the solar plexus, like the power and the vitality, man, when you're not aware of these things, you'll keep almost like manifesting the same things. Notice how it says I do with solar, sacral I feel, root I am. The reason why all of these are stepping stools to who you're becoming is because very young, some of you don't even realize, outside of religion, outside of anything else, your relationships with your father, mother, who are you? Who do you say I am? When you say I am, what comes after that? Mom, I am a bad beat. What? I am a doctor. Man, fuck no. I feel amazing. I feel beautiful. I feel very creative. I feel like, how many people saying that? So with that, I do. I do what? That's asserting. That's where your power comes from. Like I said, I wasn't always here, bro. I just realized I had to even go through certain connections and relationships. I was like, I had to restore this shit. A lot of these people, I had to realize it wasn't that they, well, I had to also recognize a lot of them was remembering back my wealth, my worth, and my value. Because all of these things, especially beginning in the root, is of substance and value. Is that the relationship watering you? Come on now. How do you feel in that relationship? What are you doing? I do this, I do that. You don't even feel a sense of fulfillment. You don't even feel a sense of empowerment, because that comes from within first. I am the such and such in the relationship. I am this. Y'all don't even feel confident in that shit. There ain't nothing fucking authentic and like beautiful about it. Let's be real. We've seen a lot of our mothers and fathers and great grandma people go through stuff, and we be like, bro, we knew who they were, even if they wanted to hide it from us. But the reason why I'm gonna do another video on this about like talking about the different chakras. But the reason why I want to focus more on the root is because I go to the root cause of things. Y'all can read into more of that. But once you realize like how it talks about the physical and emotional and spiritual body, again, I always tell y'all about that. How your spiritual well-being, your emotional and physical. A lot of us through ancestral traumas or experiences or curses or intergenerational, trauma, you're not just carrying, your emotions. A lot of us, due to the fact that our mothers and fathers have to carry the load, some of us are here to unpack it. And guess how that shows up, the discomfort and dis-ease. If the root chakra is the base in where everything begins, and if imagine your mother and grandmother and all them not watering themselves, right? So guess what's going to show up in your body, in your physical? It's going to affect your blood, your immune system, bone marrow, spine, and so forth. I know so many grandmas right now, they should be in more of a healthier state, but due to the fact of overcompensating, burning themselves out and so forth, y'all don't realize this shit showing up in your body because it starts spiritually and it starts emotionally. Because a lot of y'all fear. These are fear templates, manipulative and so forth. So when you're coming from foundations, when I say templates, I'm talking about foundations of intergenerational foundations of fear of not having shelter, food, and safety. Guess what is the highlight right now in these generations? Even the people that y'all thought they would never, the people that even thought they would never end up in this shit, because y'all been bamboozled to think these people have built their foundations on false empowerment. When you look at this patriarchal system around control, manipulation, deception, listen, how the fuck you think you're gonna get away with deceiving the original people who represent almost the root chakra of this nation, in this world, in this realm? Again, where there's instability in the very women who have upheld this, I don't care how light your skin is, what status you are, celebrity, anywhere, royalties and so forth, when there is no accountability, when there is no healthy representation, and as much as y'all try to detach yourself and create an identity around not really realizing that you all have lived amongst each other for thousands of years, eons, or whatever, however you want to say it, in the last couple hundred years, and as much as y'all have detached or wanted to create this illusion of separation, you know for a lot of you, your foundations of your colorism and what you create is literally siphoning from the fucking root chakra of these very women that are darker, who especially go through pain and have who don't have something stable. That's how you've created your stability, bitch. Let's call it a spade. Fucking corny ass people. That's how dare you think you're gonna get away with creating stability from preying on people who through their it's not that they're not able to be stable. You created your stability, your false empowerment of stability through preying on the backs and energetically pulling and attaching yourself, and at the same time in this not even a healthy detachment, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like dissociation. You want to dissociate yourself, and that's people of darker shade too. You bamboozled to a lot of you of certain status. You want to dissociate yourself from women, people that are darker so fucking much. Let me tell you, I've seen people of all colors and creeds. That's the reason why I detach from a lot of people, because again, I can recognize whatever they've been hiding and whatever they've been building. Let me tell you this. I did through humanity right now. Let's say a lot of these chakras as a collective could have been operating, right? Let's say what time is that? 4, 5, 6, right? Let's say all of these chakras have been let's say, operating collectively, right? Or you have people individually, right? Now let me tell y'all what ain't been said. When you look at how people are surviving, no matter their demographics, no matter their nationality, no matter what they obtain, when you see the word trust, when you see the word grounding, when you see how people represent themselves, I am a representative of da-da-da-da-da, I am a leader, I am a this, I am a that. Man, shut that shit the fuck up, bro. How you become that? Y'all talking about powerful people. How you become that? How you become that? Doing what? Your hands ain't fucking clean. Your heart ain't even pure. Fuck out of here. Not to mention the shit that have happened to little girls and little children in this world. This is why I keep telling y'all the fact of how the collective aspect, how people have been manipulated through spirituality and enlightenment, manipulated through their intuition, manipulated through their expression, how that has been attacked through freedom of speech, how their power have been attacked, how they're healing. These are certain parts of what represents an individual. And also, y'all don't realize we're restoring the emotional body, spiritual body. Why do you think these kids, these souls that's coming in, these spirits are so powerful? Because y'all don't realize as we fucking stabilize and restore the root chakra, these kids already know their mission. They going to build a new order of things. So guess what? I'm not at all surprised when they tear this motherfucker up or do whatever they supposed to do. Because that's divine order. Y'all be sitting here trying to keep people from doing what their mission is. You better get the fuck out of the way of the karma that people have put out, the seeds that they're sold. Y'all be getting in the way and don't realize that a lot of these structures and corporations, as a ambulance ride right the fuck by with an 8 on it. What goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. You telling me that the ancestors are the highest good, the ones that didn't get the rest, the ones who these kids that are so powerful right now that won't take a no for an answer? Please. And they don't fear what? Y'all don't realize a lot too with the root chakra, fear. A lot of fear around sacral and solar plexus. A lot of fear around those places, like, again, because of the stagnant energy. Oh, that's what I was getting to too. Like, y'all think that what you've done to people will not be accounted for? Like I said, I don't care what shade, what nationality, what you represent, what you come into this world to become and so forth, what you proclaim to be. Guess what? That shit don't mean nothing to the Divine Mother. That shit don't mean nothing to the Great Mother, to Source. Because once balance is balanced and it has to be restored, it's going to be from what has happened in a negative sense, as in the feminine energy that has been assertive in a wounded masculinity. That wounded masculinity that has been collective over years, operated through the patriarchal and both matriarchal, what has been accounted for. The tears, the blood, the work, the everything, the innocence, all of that is accounted for. If you think that there is no balance, y'all better get out of the way. I'm just a messenger. You better get out of the way. I ain't getting in nobody karma, because ain't nobody exempt. No one's exempt. The very thing that kept people in a unstable, ungrounded, is the very thing that's gonna stabilize them. This shit is so fucking amazing, bro. Do y'all not realize how energy operates? This is what's so excitement around the new order of things, the new teachers, the new, y'all want to call them celebrity, like none of those titles mean nothing. This is energy and frequency we're dealing with. It's just as much as there were hatred, there shall be love. It's just as much as there was all the very things that was opposite of the healing and acceptance and all the very things that was basically, if you want to call it wicked or whatever. That's why you see so many people step into their power, because they're healing their expression, their communication, all these things. People are coming online, they see sex differently. Once a lot of women start to realize how they see sex differently and come to that deeper awareness of trusting themselves and start to heal their wounds. That's why in these womb areas, let me tell y'all something. Yeah, I keep trying to tell people certain demographics, bro. There are going to be people that won't be wanting for what you have, because they have literally been misled to, I tell y'all, the false perception of material security was through survival. There was no groundedness in obtaining material shit. That's what. There was no groundedness in it. These people are not. It's this shit. It says they built more material shit at the same time. Rape the earth, Mother Earth, of the resources. There ain't nothing grounded. You abused your power through trying to gain more material power or power externally, and that's on different levels. People who attack the immune system, did things, to attack these very things to keep people from rising from their spiritual bodies and emotional bodies. You gotta see how the powers of eight used to be. This was a very focus, and how they operated through people to attack the different bodies, whether astrally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, in these very ways. When you have people that are disconnected from Mother Earth, you put them in certain environments where they're not connected to Mother Earth, where they feel like they don't even like the nature of things, which they are just as connected to. When you're talking about the emotional body connected to our survival instincts and primal needs, right? Okay, think about food, shelter, and safety. Look at the demographics, bruh. If you think this shit wasn't orchestrated like that, safety, shelter, food, as in resources, natural resources, emotional resources, emotional safety. This is things that nurture the emotional body. Who has been deprived of that? The fucking very thing they deprived them of shall be returned tenfold. Ashe, 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 so be it. Even all this shit gonna play out. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro, when there is spiritual, when you see physical abuse, there was spiritual abuse first. And that spiritual abuse is playing right out. This is what those illusions of think about, if you build a foundation upon fear, then your greatest fear is for people to come into the awareness of that. And then when they come into that awareness, they realize like, I have the opportunity to love myself, to stabilize and be more secure. And in that, guess what ends up crumbling? All of those fear foundations, all of those things centered around fear, control, manipulation. And guess what begins to heal? Your spiritual body, your emotional body, and your physical body. That's why they project so much fear in the medical things, trying to desperately, when they don't have clients and stuff, desperately manipulate people to believe they have to come and do this and do that and do that. That was their generation. It's not ours. That's not ours, because we're restoring the spiritual body, the healing the spiritual body and the emotional body and so forth. Therefore, our world and our children's world will look completely fucking different from you fucks, from you discussing people. It will look completely different. And you don't have to accept it. A lot of you won't even be alive to see it. A lot of your hatred and your energy and whatever it is will be transmuted and alchemized. We're the alchemists now. We the very ones that are restoring the root chakras, not only in our lineage but in our as a patriarchal, as the matriarchal. A lot of us are here to restore that, and in doing that, guess what you do? You restore that within your daughters, your sons. You give them a foundation to believe that they are safe again. Then you begin to build communities where our children can feel safe. You feel safe first, but they feel safe as well. Where the fuck are those people? Because all these characters, you corny fuckers out here trying to play like you care about people. Yeah, you can't manipulate. Your mask fall on. You can betray it all you want to through your trying to be greedy and gain more and more and more and more and more. Please, you can gain as much as you want to physically, but your ass ain't got no type of spiritual rank. You're so disconnected from source. A lot of you are cut off. So y'all realize as we step into our power, once you realize, like when I talk about the solar plexus, a lot of that stuff I was doing had a lot to me not realizing the power that I had within myself when it comes to my sexuality. A lot of us are restoring that. What it is, however you want to operate and live your life through your sexual preferences or whatever. Restore that from being sexually abused for some of you, to be able to operate through your throat and speak about your story, to love yourself more and heal and accept who you are, however you're supposed to express that, through your creativity, through your, and with this will also create more of not just safety and trust and groundedness, but privacy. They don't call it private parts for no reason. And it's funny how a lot of shit you see ain't even private no more, because that's the exposure. A lot of things we're restoring is to keep for us, is to protect for our safety, for our security, to build that. And the very people at one point in time, think about how people wanted us to gravitate through the manipulation. Oh, look at that son. Oh, look at this person. Look at that person. Oh, that. Man, do y'all not know? Just like that, the very people who wanted to cipher the collective and do all this to look towards, I don't give a fuck what celebrity is. Once y'all start realizing that a lot of what you're doing has a lot to do with it, you don't know who you are, they're going to continue to fade. You're going to continue to see a lot of those artists, a lot of these people operate from survival, from fear, from not a sense of being grounded. As the world shifts, you're going to realize how ungrounded they are. They were also a part of that society, that group, not just group, that old narrative, because they were brought up in those same generations too, by those same parents and so forth that exposed them, they gave them away. And guess what? They ass too have chakras. Some of them ain't operating from love and acceptance. Some of them do operate from a creativity and an abundant place. But some of them aren't even unaware unconsciously how they manipulate, but some of them are. They know exactly what the fuck they doing. Some of them are just fucking puppets. Some of them use their throat chakras. Y'all gotta realize everyone got these powers to do exactly what they're here to do. And a lot of these people have been on this world stage and now they're fading and the curtain is closed, is because they had an opportunity, even through the transitioning of knowing that the collective is shifting, that through that they could either still misuse and abuse their power. So by them doing that, there will be consequences. It's just like no difference in me. Everyone is valuable. I could have still used my coming into this awareness and so forth and take it and be like, oh, I'm going to manipulate women, I'm going to do all these other things. For what? Universal law, that shit come back. And I don't ever want that to hit my daughter. I don't ever want that to happen to my seeds and so forth. No. That's how big it is when you sit on the bigger picture. A lot of people are operating through these very same chakra systems and energetically and so forth. They just choose to give it away and use it and misuse it and abuse it, and not see the importance of also how this connects and bridges to the generation after. And that's how important this is. Y'all don't realize that. A lot of these things, when you talk about child development, when you talk about who has my mother said I am, verbal abuse, physical abuse, and so forth, that shit affects every chakra. That affects how we show up, how we express ourselves, how we even being exposed to sex young. That could damage and block, or not even have an overactive chakra. Some say it can blown out, or sometimes some things can happen to where you see people not even come back from the fact of being able to heal a chakra system. I'm not going to say what's true or not, But when I recognize a lot of these youth and so forth, I realize they operate at a lower nature because they don't have knowledge of the importance of how the fact of like how they are supposed to express themselves through it. And then a lot of these generations and the people, you're dealing with different generations of family trees that are blocked in certain chakras or operating through the lower natures and don't really rise into the heart or rise into these higher chakras. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you can see a lot of youth be consumed by more focus on self-sabotaging themselves in relationships because they don't know how to communicate healthily or express themselves healthily or have a sense of awareness or intuition or, you know, seeing things spiritually and ancestrally. Yeah. And some people are even unaware on different levels. They're unaware. And it's not about blaming. This is about how things are just divinely orchestrated right now. Shit, I didn't have a lot of this awareness until I became like, oh, okay, now I'm supposed to see what I'm supposed to do with this. There's no fear in that. As you walk your authentic path and be honest and so forth, then you begin to realize there is no fear in that because that was a belief system. That was a scarcity. That was a, oh, you know, if you say this, such and such come. I don't give a fuck who come. They gonna be met with fire. They gonna be met with the phoenix. When you know you divinely connected and divinely protected, you move with discernment. You move with awareness. When it says awareness and intuition, those are your powers. Discernment. You realize, oh, I cannot be a part of that. I won't be a part of that. Or, you know, this now it's a frequency thing now, and that's why we're able to see certain people, these characters out in the world, celebrities and whomever it is. It's like, bro, oh, we know what frequency you hold now. Oh, your music, you still operating the fucking chakra level. You still operating in survival. That's why you desperate to get money. You greedy. That's why you still operating on unhealed sacral chakra. You still operating from a place of false empowerment. Your solar plexus blocked. Whether politically and so, oh, look at this person. They don't love that. They don't even love themselves. They ain't even accepting who they are. They still living and masking themselves. Bro, that's how deep this shit. Hey, bro, this shit is beautiful, boy. Y'all better go ahead. The mask is falling. I keep on falling. That's what your mask saying to y'all. I keep on falling. Yeah, but yeah, it don't matter who you is. All that which y'all felt was stolen and so forth. Listen, motherfuckers can steal as much as they want to in the physical. Spiritually, there's some things you can't touch, boo-boo. That's what y'all gotta realize. It's in you, it ain't on you. It don't matter how much has been removed. It's in you. Pack light. Pack light. That means unpack the emotions. Unpack what's unresolved. Remove it. And then you'll realize how light your load becomes, even in your heart and even in certain places. Cleanse yourself. Go to the beach. Get in that salt bath, that salt water. I'm gonna come here again, but I'm telling y'all, bro, listen. Don't let no one trick you out your position, believe, oh, she don't have this right now. But listen, it's become very clear why. Because I realized, like having more awareness around what it is I'm here to do and so forth. It's because a lot of these certain chakra systems or the chakra or certain things in my body energetically, whether repressed or suppressed, whether you believe in the chakra system or not, blah 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 blah. Again, it's the deeper awareness and self-awareness around how I'm even supposed to come into my stability. I had to realize like what was keeping that unstable, what was keeping me from not being grounded. Why was I not, asking myself, why was I not trusting myself? Survival, instincts, all these other things. And so that comes with, again, learning more of yourself, recognizing learned behavior patterns, generational patterns, learning more of who you are, loving yourself, keep loving on yourself, versions of yourself and so forth. And yeah, but other than that, this is my message for today. Y'all take care of yourself. Peace and blessings. Shalom.